Today we're starting to go through 1 Thessalonians. Now, the exciting thing about Thessalonians for me is that it's the earliest of Paul's letters. It was written around AD 50, AD 51. And not only is it the earliest of Paul's letters, but it's actually probably the earliest Christian document that we have anywhere in the world. And so Paul had arrived in Thessalonica around AD 49, so this is 1 or 2 years after he was with them. And he planted a church there. You can read about it in Acts chapter 17, the whole story's in there. And different to the earliest disciples who are all Jews, these people who've become Christians in Thessalonica are all from pagan backgrounds. So they have a number of different issues to the things that Paul and his friends who were Jewish would have had to face. And Paul sadly had to leave very abruptly because of persecution, and so he's really quite worried about the Thessalonians because he's thinking, did I give them enough teaching, and so he can't go back there because of the danger, so he sends Timothy instead, who might, who won't be as recognisable as him. And Timothy comes back with his report, and Paul's just delighted about it. And so Paul's writing him this letter to just give thanks to God for what Timothy has told him about them. And there's a really interesting bit in verse 6 of chapter 1. And it says, "You became imitators of us and of the Lord. In spite of severe suffering, you welcomed the message with joy given by the Holy Spirit. And then you became a model to all the believers in Macedonia and Achaia." And that's a really interesting challenge for us as Christians, because Paul's basically saying it was a really good thing that you imitated our lives, mine, Timothy's, Silas's, because in doing that you're also imitating Jesus, because that's what we're devoting our lives to do. And I wonder for us how comfortable we would be in any part of our lives being imitated by other people as they try and follow Jesus. And not only did that work well, but then the Thessalonians became an example for others to imitate in Macedonia and the surrounding areas there. And so it's a good challenge to think about today. What parts of my life are good for others to imitate? What parts of my life are not good for others to imitate? And what does that mean? What can I do about that? How can I allow God to transform me so that I'm living the kind of life that I would want others to live, that I would want to introduce other people to? How can we be the example, our lives be part of the message that we're preaching to others?